So, without further ado, let's give a huge round of applause and welcome Jennifer Quigley-Jones to the Social Day stage. She will be talking about how to drive sales with YouTube creators. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. Me, please, literally live Q&A me if you can't, because I'm currently in Westminster Extinction Rebellion protest, which is not what I imagined for giving this talk, but I hope you're all well. Thank you so much to Lucy and the team at Social Day for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you today about how to drive sales for brands using YouTube creators. I think this is a topic that is often overlooked in influence marketing. We talk a lot about brand awareness. We talk a lot about click-throughs, but I'm going to talk about actually driving sales for brands and the more performance side of influence marketing. Right, let's see if my presentation's up here. It's going to require audience participation, so I really hope that you click and that you no. Right. So, who recognises this lovely fellow? If there's a live Q&A from the audience, can anyone comment who this person is? We've all seen him through lockdown. Anyone? Okay, well, it's, as I'm sure you all said, Joe Wicks, the body coach, who did live from his bedroom, from his living room every day to keep kids fit while they were in school and to substitute PE lessons. I was going to ask more questions, but I don't know if anyone's going to comment. So instead, I'll just go through it. What I think is remarkable about Joe is that he doesn't strike you as a traditional celebrity. One of the things you love about him, / might find really annoying, is that Joe was in his house every day. He was consistent. You could do things like spin a wheel to play the game and see which exercise you're doing next. Joe really made it personal to work out with someone. And during lockdown, we've seen health content and home workout content surge on YouTube. We've seen home and DIY content surge. We've seen personality driven people and blogs content and gaming. Those are categories that have done exceptionally well. And it's because of creators like Joe Wicks who have made content personal and who have made production consistent, and it feels like there's someone you can trust in your living room. So he, I know, is like borderline celebrity / YouTube creator. You feel like you trust him, you feel like you know who he is. You've got to see a more part of him than you have with most celebrities. But he's still definitely big, right? He's got 2.54 million subscribers. He raised 250 grand for the NHS. This, coming up now, is one of my favorite YouTube creators, and I will be really, really impressed if you know who she is. If anyone does, drop me a note on the app and I'll chat to you afterwards. I'll buy you a coffee. This is Steal the Spotlight. So she's an Australian creator who does fashion videos, often inspired by anime, inspired by cosplay, inspired by different films or TV shows. And she has about 500,000. And the thing I really love about her is that she feels much more like a friend to me. So people trust YouTube creators much more like a friend than a celebrity. So it's like 92% of people think a YouTube creator is more relatable than a celebrity. 4 in 10 millennial subscribers in the UK say they'd trust their favorite YouTube creator more than their friends. That's mad. That's mad power. And you'll notice that Steal the Spotlight isn't a huge channel. Steal the Spotlight is a very fun channel. And we've worked with her a lot to drive conversions and sales. I trust her recommendation. And when I see a brand support her, I want to support that brand. And so it's a very different relationship, traditional celebrity relationship we see original celebrity brand ambassador relationship. So I wanted to start this talk by saying these are the faces of the entrepreneurs that can sell product for you. These are people you can work with effectively. These are people you can really build on that trust that they have with their audience to drive sales. If you haven't got like stuff, do it. If you haven't bought Surfshark VPN, you can do it through her link. We sponsored her quite a few times. I'm going to play a little video about what we do. It's our ad. Hopefully it will work. I don't know if it will. Okay. What we do at Digital Voices, which is very different to most other agencies, we specialize with YouTube creators. So we know exactly how to drive view sales on YouTube. We guarantee views, so we guarantee results for every campaign. Organic views or actual sales we work with on a performance basis, where we have to make X proportion of their spend back every month in order to keep working together. And we've actually, one of them, we're on an unlimited retainer now every month because they trust what we do so much. We're really knowing YouTube really well. We do some TikTok and some Instagram as well, but we know YouTube the best. And then we look at these performance guarantees to make sure brands know what they're getting when they work with us. So from the outset, we know the results and we aim to hit them. If we don't hit those results, we will give back our agency fee to a brand. So we make no money unless you make money too, essentially. Very different for an agency model. So why YouTube? I mean, if we're talking about performance marketing, why would you spend on YouTube that feels like the most expensive of all influencer marketing? It feels so difficult to get right as a brand. So why would you do YouTube? There are a couple of reasons. Firstly, attention. I don't know if you can read this. Okay, right. So people watch YouTube for the longest time ever. It captures more, I think it's 18 to 46-year-olds than all TV networks combined. YouTube is where people are watching with the sound on for the longest. And that's something I think a lot of brands forget. You can be featured in someone's content on Instagram, but most of the time they're not engaging with the captions. They're not viewing content with the sound on. With YouTube, it offers the opportunity to educate people about the product because they watch full screen, often landscape, on their phone or on their laptop or even on their TV, and they watch with the sound on and really engage with content. The average mobile session is 40 minutes. The average view for one of our campaigns is 6 minutes, 2 seconds for one video. That is a depth of engagement and holding someone's attention that you don't get anywhere else. You notice sometimes there are comparable click-through rates in Instagram stories from swipe ups and YouTube in the link clicks in the description. It's really interesting, but YouTube converts more. So when people actually do swipe up from a link, a lot of the time they're on their phone, they're not interested, they're not looking to buy, they don't really know what they're swiping up to. Whereas with YouTube, when they click on a link, if they've been properly educated by that YouTube creator, they're prepared to buy. They know what they're expecting from the next website. So that's really, really important if you're looking at conversions. There are 2 billion monthly active users on YouTube. That means if you can't find your customer on YouTube, you don't know who your customer is. 2 billion monthly active users is mad. That's more than, it's double Instagram, it's double TikTok. And they consume 1 billion hours of content every day. Every day. And then finally, so that's why YouTube is a platform, that's how people engage with YouTube. And then finally, you've got this affinity piece. Like I mentioned with Still the Spotlight, I follow her. I've watched a lot of her content. I've, again, been in her bedroom. I've seen her editing process. I've seen her try on clothes she doesn't like. I've seen her be insecure and vulnerable. YouTube creators combine the reach of a celebrity with the trust of a friend, and it's measurable. And me is why most brands should be using YouTube if they're focused on driving sales and conversion campaigns. Right. I wanted to show you this video. So Cara and Nate are a brilliant, a great couple. They're a travel couple who used to travel the world. And if you get a chance, I'll send this video around afterwards. This is their 60-second VPN sponsorship we did. So they watch, they travel, and then in the video for 60 seconds, they talk about using Surfshark VPN to protect their data to access Netflix while they're abroad. from this like at least a 500% investment in sales from that 160 seconds in this video. They are tremendous and a great example of how we've worked with people with a very simple short message to drive sales. So you go onto their video and there's a link in the description, and then that goes to a custom landing page. We then, once we saw how well they converted, we used our data tools that we have in-house to find affinity creators, so other creators that the same audience watch. Because if you sell to that, you know they'll buy. So then we started looking at other channels that were watched by the same people and built that affinity profile. So Cara and Nate are one of the most successful examples we've done in terms of ROI for YouTube creators. I recommend their channel. I highly recommend watching this. Right, so how do you actually do it? How do you drive sales? I'm going to give you all the secret sauce right now, easy. To be honest, if you want to do it at scale, it's great. We've got a team of about 15 people who do it at scale in Shoreditch. We've got clients like Unilever, the RAF, Made.com, Surfshark we mentioned. There are so many brands we work with, Booking.com, that are really focused on driving sales. If you want help, if you want to professionalize it, if you want to do it at scale, come to us. If not, here is exactly how you can do it yourself. Firstly, data. I'm sure you've heard this before, but a lot of startups and small brands, or brands when they first look at working with influencers, especially YouTubers, they find someone they love. So like I could find Steal the Spotlight or Joe Wicks, and they'd reach out to them and say, hey, can you do this? It's the wrong way to source creators. You do not source creators by their personality. Source creators by who their audience is. So we have software that pulls the data of 15 million YouTube creators and tells us who their audience demographics are. That's normally when a brand says to us, we want to get these customers to buy this product, here's the message. We make sure the YouTube creator matches target customer, the viewer that YouTube creator's audience match their target customer. So Joe Wicks may be wonderful, but if you're selling a US product, he's got a really high UK audience. Why would you work with him? Steal the Spotlight, I may love her, but if I'm selling, gym gear in the UK, she's Australian with a very international audience. She's not right. So you need to make sure that you go through all these creators' data before you approach them. Otherwise, your campaign falls at the first hurdle. Even if the message is really successful, even if everything else is really successful, you haven't accessed those right customers from the beginning. So data is my number one. From the outset, start thinking based on data. Secondly, having one clear call to action. And this is what people get wrong all of the time, brands that we work with. So many things about your brand you can recommend. There are so many things about your product you want to say. Do you want them to take part in an augmented reality filter, to buy something on the site? What do you want this person to do? Do you just want them to watch the video and think that brand's great? Or learn about your product you want? And the call to action, if it's a performance campaign, should always be go to the link, buy the product. Always. Stop confusing people by trying to do everything with influencers. Stop thinking, oh, it's a YouTube video, so it's long, so we should chuck everything in there. Really, really edit your message and the features that sell your product, and then find that one clear call to action. Make sure it is click to this link below and buy the product. You don't care about comments, you don't care about likes, you don't care about shares. What you care about is that one sale. So make sure you're optimizing, pushing people to buy the product. Next thing I want to say, and this is really, again, kind of linked to that call to action. A lot of people forget the customer journey in this. They think, we'll get a YouTuber to mention it, and then they'll go onto a site, and the site could be awful, but they'll still buy. If you're not thinking about the customer journey, or you're not optimizing every stage to make sure you get the most conversions possible. Blimey, that's a lot of cheering for Extinction Rebellion in the background. So what we love is working with Surfshark. They do custom microsites. Okay, they do custom microsites. You'll see on screen now that's Simon Wilson. People watch his video. If they click on description, and it'll be like surfshark.biz/Simon, because you want to build that trust all the way through. You want people to know, I'm watching Simon's video, I love Simon, I'm going to click on this, and I feel like Simon will be involved. So you keep Simon throughout the customer journey. They then get to a landing page with a limited time offer with Simon's face on it. It takes a little bit more time to build these custom landing pages. It takes time to get custom URLs, but you trust in sales as a result because people trust these creators like a friend. So this is how the landing page looks. This is how it looks on mobile. So you'll see it goes, click from surfshark.deals/Simon. And then it goes, hey, Simon Wilson, his name's in colours, there's a photo of him there. Okay, it might drive 0.5% more, but 0.5% more sales can represent revenue. So you really should think about, how do you involve an influencer in every stage of the customer journey? Get your performance teams, get your digital design teams, get your web teams all on the same side to make sure you really, really maximize conversions. And finally, this is something that I cannot state enough. Find a way to track your results and then reinvest based on what's successful. So I've mentioned Cara and Nate, Steal the Spotlight, and Simon Wilson, all of whom have been sponsored multiple times by us, by Surfshark through us, through Digital Voices. So how do we track those results? How do we track sales? Custom discount codes means we know exactly how many people have converted based on seeing Simon's video. We probably underestimate slightly, but we know how many have converted. So you track those results and you can see how much an influencer charges and how many sales they make. Positive return on investment, reinvest in them again. And that to a lot of people sounds crazy. You're like, well, you've hit their audience once. Why do you think they'll drive sales again? We've seen that over time, creators, their sales stay level if they do well, if not slightly increase. And that is mad to imagine. You're hitting the same audience, but the longer they see you for, you're raising brand awareness and then they build trust. So they on the third video, they see your brand sponsor. But that's okay. That means they just took time to trust you. You don't necessarily see a product immediately and buy it. So you're doing brand awareness and conversions all in one. So reinvest in that creator. If they're showing positive ROI, go back. If they're showing a near positive ROI, you can always go back to them and say, look, you didn't drive quite enough sales, but can we pay you X amount instead? And we'd love to responsor you and see if that works. And then like we mentioned here, affinity profiling. So Wilson may share an audience with Cara and Nate. We can go into the data based on the software tool we use that has all the creators sorted by who their audience are. But then we can also see which other channels they watch through that software, and then we find other people who are similarly likely to convert. So that way, you try one person in a niche. If it works, you have the network effect. You own that entire niche area. You then say, okay, right, no one's sold a VPN audiences before. We tweak the messaging slightly, try a couple of female creators. If one converts, great, keep that messaging, experiment with it a little bit, and then go to all these affinity channels. So track the results, reinvest either in that creator or other creators who are similar to it. And that's how you really drive sales in an effective way. So just going to go back through this really, really quickly. So data, first point. Having a clear call to action, second point. Thinking of the customer journey throughout. So how do you make sure you're getting the most money and the most trust from that relationship with influencers? That's third point. And then tracking and reinvesting. So track your results and reinvest. It takes time, it takes effort, but I swear know that this marketing channel is working for you if you do it properly. Right, if we have any questions, I can't see any Q&As. If you come through, please drop me a lot of questions. If not, I'll be available on the app. You can also get in touch here. Please just drop an email to hello@digitalvoices.co.uk, happy to chat. And if you have a product where you're not sure if performance marketing works for you, if you've maybe tried Instagram, you don't think it's converting quite as well, and the bottom line is what you care about, we have a performance marketing specialist team who are more than happy to chat about it and see if YouTube will work for you. If it won't work for you, we don't mind, because we guarantee results. If we don't hit the results, we give back our fees. So we'd only ever take a client if we know it's going to work for them. So if you want to chat about it, see if it works for you, let me know.
Hey Jen, how are you doing? You're right.
Good, thank you.
Like, looks like you're having a lot of fun out there with all the protesting.
I was not anticipating being in the protest. I wish I was. I ended up very delayed on a trip, so I had to run out of the car.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, thank you
It's all right.
for getting up to do this for us and everything. So we've got a few questions for you, which I'm
I'm
going to
so
ask now.
sorry.
It's okay. It's fine.
Perfect. Great.
Is we'll have a look at the because a few people have just mentioned about the audio. So what we'll do is we'll try and look at the audio afterwards, and when we put it back up for people to rewatch, because they said there's a lot of golden nuggets in your talk, and it's utterly amazing. So let's start with Dylan. So Dylan Tillman says, how did the rules with YouTube changing campaigns where you have to say it's a paid sponsorship or ad in terms of engagement? Is there still good results now that they are heading in the right direction with more honest creators?
Yes. So there are two different rules for this. One is if it's a dedicated video, you have to declare it's an ad in the thumbnail or title. And we see a lot of creators, especially at the beginning of their careers, when they declare an ad, their audience are so excited to see them doing well financially. They're like, get that coin, sis. Yay, great. Actually, that does work, especially if it's a small creator rather than a large one. But for sponsorships, which is a lot of the ways we do performance campaigns, because sponsorships are often a 60-second message, you only need to say the video is sponsored before that message. You don't need to put it in the title. You don't need to put it in the description. And completely accept that as a form of marketing. Their audiences are fine with that on YouTube. It also means it's less intrusive and feels kind of less pushy and cheaper for the brand to experiment with. So for performance campaigns, we highly, highly recommend sponsorships often rather than dedicated videos, and then you don't have to say ad.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Dylan. And Bogdan's here, and he has a question for you. And he says, as a YouTube creator, close to 10K, with a bit of sponsorship experience, what's the next step towards securing longer-term sponsorships or partnerships with brands?
Yeah, I think this is really tough because a lot of YouTube creators really want to start making money, especially because monetization is kind of more difficult now. I would say approach brands you like, or go to an agency like us or Influencer or Goat or Fanbytes and mention, say, hey, which roster do you have? Like, which brands do you have on that you work with? Would I suit any of them? They're likely to give you a trial, but say to them, please, I really, really want to build this into a case study. So ask for results. You would be amazed. So few creators ever ask for results. They're like, cool, here's my goodbye. So if you say, look, did I convert well enough? Did you think my good? Did I work professionally? That makes it way more likely we'll find a way to work with you again. Just because if you have the right audience for a right brand with professional creators we can work with, there are lots of YouTubers, but sometimes a lot don't reply to emails. So yeah, just be as professional as you can. Thanks, sorry.
Bogdan. Thanks, Jenny. That was really, really helpful. I'm sure that Bogdan will get a lot from that, and it's really good to get some insider knowledge from the agency side as well, if you are a creator. Andy also has a question. I've looked a few times at using creators / influencers. However, I have always struggled getting it past directors and managers due to the worry around brand reputation. If the creator influencer were to do something in future videos that could harm our brand reputation, what's the best way to find a creator / influencer, and what do you have in place to protect brand reputation going forward? Great question, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That is a good question. And yeah, there are working with the RAF, that was a and the NHS actually during lockdown, that was a massive concern. So in every contract we have termination clauses. So if they do anything wrong, the same with any actor, if they do anything wrong, you can terminate the contract, never work with them again. I also think the directors maybe, and this is where performance is quite useful, need to shift from it as they're not just your brand ambassador. It's a media buy. You are buying access to their audience and buying the trust they built up with their audience. So you don't necessarily care if a journalist who reviews your holiday does something awful. Do you know what I mean? You've got to see it as, we do a lot of research to make sure they haven't done anything awful so far. We talk to a lot of people in the YouTube community. We do background checks, all that stuff. but then and once you work with them once, you've got the moral violations kind of clauses to protect you in future. But that's really all you can do. You've got to shift the, and this is where performance is good. If you can show they drive sales, you're proving its value as a marketing channel, like a media buy. I think that's where people need to shift with influencers. Stop trying to expect them to be these perfect, polished people. Because that's not who young people want to watch, especially Gen Z. Stuff Gen Z wants to watch. We just did a report on it. It's slightly terrifying. It's not my type of content, but that's their version of TV. So you take the same risk that you would with an actor on TV or with a radio journalist or radio presenter or a journalist, and try and prove it drives sales.
There you go. How was that, Andy? Does that put? Do you think that will help put your directors' minds at rest a little bit? I hope so. So, Jen, we do have quite a few more questions because people found your session really, really useful. It was amazing. Thank you so much. However, now it's time to come over to our next session, and we're on a tight schedule today. So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you? Also, just to note that you can still chat with Jen in the app. Ask her questions directly. Is that right? You'll be able to get back to people in that way. Fantastic. Thanks, Jen. So let us know how people can get hold of you and chat to you after if they want to.
Perfect. On the app, once I get back to my flat, but if you drop an email to hello@digitalvoices.co.uk, Jenny@digitalvoices.co.uk, I'll get back to it as well. So don't worry. Thank you so much, Lucy, for having me. The lineup's amazing. I'm so glad you're doing a digital event that's like this. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jen, for taking part. You've been amazing. I'm looking forward to catching up with you really, really soon. Have a good time and take care, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. See you very soon.